relaxing. I was actually looking at it and falling asleep myself. So I'm hoping it's putting you in a relaxed state of mind so that you're able to hear some of the support that we have on offer today. But thank you all for joining us today. I know it's during half term, so I appreciate that you've managed to come today and join us. So hopefully you'll learn a few things that might help you to continue to manage during this difficult time, being in isolation and lockdown. Okay, before we make a start, we're going to start with some polls. So Natalie, are you able to launch the first poll, please?
Yeah, will do.
Okay, so you should be able to see the poll that's flashed up. First question is just to get a sense of who is in the room today. So if you could just vote, are you a child, young person, mum, dad, foster care or professional within the room today? Just wait for everyone to do it. 3 people. Keep going. Lovely. Carry on. Few more people. Okay, what we do, launch that one. So you can see that there's quite a few mums, 50% of you are mums. We have some dads in the room, which is great. One dad, a foster carer, and a child. So a warm welcome to all of you here today. Next one. So what's worrying you the most right now? So you've got a long list there. What's worrying you the most right now? Is it your emotions? Is it your child's learning, school, family relationships, bullying, sexual relationships? What's worrying you right now? Keep on going. And there may be a couple of things that you're worried about, but just pick the top thing. What's most concerning for you? Keep on going. Is it your friendships? Other things that's not mentioned? Okay, we can launch that one. So it's split. A lot of you said home life and your emotions, anxiety. And one of you said it might be the child worrying about their own learning in school. So we'll have a look at that as well. And drugs and alcohol. Okay, lovely. That's given us some ideas. Let's do the next poll. So we've run a number of workshops so far. Just want to get a sense of how many of you have attended previously. So if you've attended, say yes. And if you haven't, this is the first time, say no. Oh, wow. Okay. Keep on going. Keep on going. Lovely. And if we show that one, so it looks like the majority of you, 67%, have never been to one of these workshops. So, I'm really pleased that you decided to come today. It might be the topic or you just stumbled upon it, but whatever way, I'm happy to see you. And 33% of you have attended before. So a warm welcome back. I hope you'll find them useful. For those of you that haven't attended before, we run these on a Thursday, same time, 4 to 5, but we have different themed sessions. So today's session is about your own self-care. So that's why we started with that first relaxing video, so that you all get opportunity to think about yourselves right now. Forget about everything else that you have to do and just be present thinking about yourself. It's okay to think about yourself. All right, let's go to the next one. Have you been feeling recently? Great. Okay. Bit anxious, stressed, sad, or angry? Okay, keep on going. Keep on going. Keep on going. Okay, I think we could show that one. So it seems like 42% of you are feeling okay, which is good to hear. 8% of you feel great. 25% of you feel anxious, and 25% of you feel stressed. So no one's feeling sad or angry, so that's okay. But I'm a bit concerned about those of you that's feeling anxious and stressed. I completely understand, because of what we're in right now, and whatever you may be going through right now may be impacting on you. Thank you so much. Natalie, can you bring those down for me and then put up the slides? Thank you. Lovely. We're just waiting for these to come down. So for this session, and I hope you can hear me because my internet is a bit unstable today. For this session, I really want to spend a bit of time talking about self-care. So we're going to be providing a lot of information and advice for you, but I just want to start with the first slide, if that's possible, Natalie, just to look at some of the different ways we can look after ourselves. And I've put together a couple of things for us to consider and think about. So just wait a few seconds for it to come up. Is it a bit of difficulty with it?
Yeah, it's just swirling around. I'll give it just a second. It shouldn't take long.
Okay. So while we're waiting for the slides, wanted to talk about myself. So everybody gets anxious at different times, or feels stress, or if something's going on within the family, it does have a knock-on effect on yourself. Thanks, Natalie. If we go to the next slide. I've put some pictures. Now, they all describe different things, but I'm quite interested to know, how do you take time out for yourself? What do you do? What do you consider as taking time out for yourself? So if I were just to go through some of the pictures, the first one depicts some books. So I was thinking about reading. Sometimes when I have a little quiet moment, I like to read a good novel, get right into it, and escape to a faraway land for that hour or so. It takes me away from whatever I'm worried about, and I'm somebody else or somewhere else. Is it that you enjoy the outdoors and you like to go for a nice walk in a park by yourself or with family members? Maybe you have a dog that you take out twice a day. Is that something that you're in touch with the outdoors? Are you like me that loves a bit of TV? Yeah, I admit it. I like my soaps. I like to watch my soaps, and that gets me out of things. Or is it that you like to listen to music? You have some favorite tracks that you download. Do you do some meditation or yoga or something like that? Or are you into exercise, where it's the vigorous type, or yoga or Pilates? Do you contact your friends and family and just have a long natter? I'm one of those people that do like to talk. So I like to talk to people for a very, very long time on the phone, and that gets me out of my mood. But the other one, this one here, chocolate, I'm sorry to say, but I do have a very sweet tooth. So when I'm feeling down, I like to have a little bit of chocolate or something sweet, and that perks me right up, even if it's temporary. Or another thing that I might like to do is to have a bath and just relax in the room. No one can enter while I'm in there, and I could just relax and go off. Not to sleep, obviously, but relax. Or pamper myself, maybe do my nails or get something nice for myself, treat myself. The other thing that I might like to do is go and do some gardening, you know? So I might have a little herb patch and try and do a bit of gardening of vegetable and watch that grow. Or I might just want to stay in bed. And that's a luxury for us parents, to stay in bed. But yeah, I might want to go to bed a bit early and get a few more extra nights sleep, few more hours sleep. Or I might play a game with my family or friends. And a lot of people find, I don't know if you know, but fish, if you have fish, goldfish, they're really, really relaxing, just watching them go round and round. And for children, especially, just being around animals really helps them if they're feeling down. and that can have a real positive impact on your mood. So I'm interested in how do you take time out for yourself? Do you prioritize that time for yourself? Next page. So I've put together a list of things that you need to really consider as a parent and as a person, an individual. And especially when you're going through what we're going through right now, it's complete. You mentioned some of the emotions that you have. It's completely acceptable to acknowledge those feelings. So if you're feeling stressed, you're feeling sad, you're worried, that's absolutely fine and it's perfectly acceptable. The worst thing you can do is try to ignore those feelings or to wish them away. And actually, sometimes it's all right to just ride the wave of those feelings, because those feelings won't last. They're always temporary. They shift and change. So it's okay. The other thing that we're sometimes guilty of doing is comparing ourselves to other people. So if you're one of those people that use social media, go on Facebook, yeah, and you, I don't know, have a friend and it looks like from their pictures that they're having a fabulous time, they're going on a holiday, they're laughing in the pictures, and then you look at it and you think, well, my life's not like that. You do know that when those people put those pictures up, it's only a representation of a particular point in time, that actually people are less likely to put up pictures of when they're feeling sad or when things are going wrong for them. And a lot of times when they do put those pictures up, you'll take how many takes you have to do to get the perfect shot before you put it on. So it's important to bear that in mind, that your feelings are your feelings and you cannot compare it to anybody else. They're yours. One of the things that helps is if you keep a routine at home as if schools were open. So one of the things that helps the family and especially children is if you get them up the same time. Yes, it's nice for them to have a little bit of a lie-in. I understand that. But if you kind of keep a structure, so they have maybe an hour lie-in, extra lie-in, but they get up and they do something as if it was still open, that gives them some kind of routine, a sense of purpose, and it also gives you a sense of purpose. So whether you cook lunch or dinner at a certain time, keep to that. If you do something particular in the evening, keep to that. And that helps you to maintain that level of normality. Be kind to yourself and others. Give yourself a break. You are doing the best that you can right now, and that is good enough. Do not put unrealistic expectations on yourself. It doesn't help. It doesn't help at all. Be kind and say to you, you're doing well. You are. You're getting through it. You're here now. Set clear boundaries. And what do I mean by that? So even if you are working or you're doing something else, try not to overwork because you're at home. Set clear boundaries so that you have for your family time, time for yourself, and time for whatever you want to do. Try and keep it clear and maintain that. Only focus what is within your control. So, for example, the pandemic is out of our control. There's nothing we can do about it. It's happening. Yes, we've got the vaccine rollout, and that is having a real positive effect on the transmission rate, but we have no control over that. So it's nothing that you can worry about, nothing that you can do about it. So only worry about what is within your control, within your grasp. Schedule time for yourself, even if it's 10 minutes. It might be that you schedule it when they're gone to bed, when the children have gone to bed. It might be that you wake up a little bit early and have 10, 15 minutes to yourself to do what you want to do. Find time in the day for yourself. Focus on the positives. Because when you focus all on the negatives, you lose sight of the positive, and there's always a positive. What might help is if you write them down. And remember, as I said earlier, that you are a good enough parent. Let go of perfectionism, trying to do everything right. It's not right. You don't need to do that. What you're doing is good enough. And as I said before, prioritize your own needs and take a break. Whether you say to everyone, I need a few minutes, I'm going to close this door. You know, a lot of the times I'm in the toilet. Sometimes you can't get away as a parent, and I'm sure you could all sympathize. Going to the toilet, locking the door and giving yourself 10, 15 minutes in the toilet. That is a nice break. Taking a book, relax in there. Do something. Find those precious moments for yourself. I'm going to pass you over to my colleague, Natalie.
Hi everybody, I'm Natalie and I'm going to just talk to you a little bit about stress. So as Dawn was saying, it's a very difficult time at the moment. This last year has been quite stressful for many people and for all of us. And I think it'd be really good if we could have a look at A, what stress is, and B, you know, some cool techniques that we can use to try and reduce that stress that we're all feeling. So, what is stress? So, stress is a natural response to physical and emotional challenges. So, if you think about the fight, flight, and freeze response, if you've heard that before, so when we're in a dangerous situation, we might find ourselves either fighting or flighting or freezing. You might experience this if you're crossing a busy road, or you've got an exam coming up, or a job interview and you get those kind of heart racing butterflies. That's kind of your body sort of being stressed, and it's a way to actually keep us safe. However, if you are experiencing this during times when normally it wouldn't be, say, a dangerous situation, or it wouldn't be you know, you're not crossing a road, you're just sort of sat by yourself. That's one of the signs that you might be feeling quite overwhelmed, and that's when it can become a problem. So stress itself it's not a mental health problem, but like I said earlier, prolonged exposure to stress can impact other mental health problems or cause them. And I just want you to take a moment to think just right now on how stress is impacting yourself and your relationships. So this is a really cool resource. I'm just showing it you for your reference. It's very similar to what I just explained about how it's the body's natural response when it senses danger. But it's from Mental Health First Aid England, and they've got some really cool resources. I do recommend checking them out. And this one is part of their Address Your Stress campaign. And I just think that's a really good way, drawing on what Dawn said earlier about addressing those things that are, or those feelings that you're feeling, and looking at ways in which we can reduce some of that, so it doesn't become a problem. So signs of stress, this is a really fast GIF, so I'm going to try and read. So we've got emotional signs. We've got irritability, tearfulness, more arguments, loss of humour. Behavioural signs, so you might be consuming more caffeine or alcohol, you might be more indecisive. And then some physical signs, so you might be constantly feeling tired or having stomach upsets or headaches. So just moving on. So I've got a little diagram here, and when we're talking about, you might have heard this term before of a stressor. So a stressor is a factor in your life or your situation or environment that is causing you stress. And here we've got different size cups or containers or baths, whatever you prefer. And we've got some water filling those containers up. Now, within that water, we've got different stressors. So we've got different factors in your cup of what's making you feel stressed, or what's contributing to your full cup. Now, you could have a really large cup like the one on there, or you could have a small egg-sized cup, for instance. The problem comes when, say, if it's the egg-sized egg cup, if that egg cup is overflowing, even though that egg cup is only small compared to a large, 2-litre bottle, that person still needs some help, because what that shows is that they're feeling overwhelmed. So everybody's got their own cup. Everybody's got different factors in that cup, in yourself, in your mind. And we're just looking at ways in which we can try and lift some of the load that's in there, and to try and give you some room for you to fill other things into that cup. Say fun things, like Dawn was saying, having a bath. I love baths. Having, candles on, having some, me time, being able to go for a walk. Um, During this time, we understand that all of these factors are prevalent, because we've got difficulties with, in lots of ways. We've got finances. We're all working from home or living at home. Some of us have moved back in with parents. Some of us, and kids are off school. So it's a really important time to look at this, and to know that you're not alone, like Dawn was saying. So yeah, so stress, well, it impacts how we think. It also impacts how we feel. So how we think, that includes things like having memory problems, having a brain fog. So thinking, maybe you would remember things previously when you weren't as stressed. Think about the cup, and think about when you've got so many factors in your mind, maybe thinking, taking up that space. It's almost like the brain's response is to prioritize other things, and you might forget some things, and that's something that a lot of people that are stressed do experience. Poor judgment, trouble to concentrate, indecision, not being able to finish many tasks like you wouldn't normally be able to, or self-doubt. And stress also impacts how we feel. It can cause depression. It can cause moodiness or irritability. It can promote things like feeling powerless or fatalistic thinking. So thinking that you've not um, got much agency in what's happening in your life. That's definitely probably a big factor right now with COVID. It can also cause panic. And panic's one of those things where it's a very broad spectrum. Panic can be quite quiet. It can look not like the typical maybe panic attack, or what we're used to seeing in films or things like that. um Panic can be quite quiet. So if you are feeling panicked and you've got the racing heart, you know well, I'll give you some information later on about that, but yeah. Doubt or distrust, it can make you feel quite doubtful, either of your situation, maybe of your own feelings or thoughts. It can cause you to feel anxious, overwhelmed, and it can also cause you to be frustrated, either with the situations that you're in, all the different factors in your cup, or maybe just frustration with how you're feeling yourself. It can also impact how you behave. So it can, as I mentioned earlier, you can find yourself possibly turning to things like maybe alcohol or cigarettes or caffeine to try and relax. But it is very short-lived. It can make you feel quite stressed over time, and it actually does more harm than good. It's very easier said than done to try and come off some of these stimulants. But we've got some information later on. There's some brilliant support that's out there in Newham that can help with this in accordance with like your medical professional as well. Yeah, it can cause you to isolate yourself from others. That term isolating is quite a term that has been used a lot this year with social isolation and things like that with COVID. So it's now more than ever is the time to reach out if you are feeling quite isolated, or if you're noticing that behavior change in others too. It can cause you to sleep too little or too much, so any disturbance to your natural sleep pattern. It can cause you to be demotivated, lose your sense of humor. Say if you're watching, a TV show that always made you laugh, and the really funny bits coming up, and it is, and normally you'd have a big belly laugh at it, but at the moment you're too full, your cup's too full to kind of think in that way. That can be a bit of a sign that you are overwhelmed, feeling overly stressed, and increased irritability as well, that can also be noticed by others. It also, this is, I really want to stress this, it really does impact our physical health. In the moment, it can cause things like tightness in chest, rapid heartbeat, aches and pains, sweating, but getting that butterflies feeling in your stomach. Maybe it's having an impact on your immune system, like frequent colds, you're always getting ill, you're always picking up the cold that's going round. Headaches, problems with skin, indigestion, high blood pressure, and muscle tension. There's often a misconception, I think, through the years of mental health, or stress and things like that not being part of physical health, and it absolutely is. So that's why I've mentioned that today, because I think it's really important. So now moving on to what's in your self-care toolkit. Everybody's got a toolkit, just like everybody's got a cup, and we've all got different things in there. Some of us have more than others. So we're going to think about this in terms of what do we have already that we do for ourselves. Like Dawn was saying, the time that we give ourselves, where it's just us, where we can relax and zone out, read a book or whatever it is. I just want to stress that if you are experiencing any of the symptoms that I've mentioned just before, whether it's physical, thinking, or feeling, I want you to ensure that you stay till the end of this session, because we've got some information on support that's out there. But also, please do seek professional advice, especially if it's impacting your day-to-day functioning. So if it's impacting your day-to-day life and you're really struggling, please do seek professional advice. But now we're going to move on to some of the things that you could do yourself before it gets to that stage. So good strategies for reducing stress. The first one was actually number 7, but I've moved it to the top because because I think it's really important to start off by saying, don't be too hard on yourself. The rest of the steps here are brilliant steps to reducing stress, but right now, realistically, we're aware that things are hard. We've got so much going on, and it's really common for everybody's cup to be really full right now. So I've moved it to the top because it's all very well saying, exercise, be mindful, eat healthily. It's not always easy when you've got kids in the house, when you're working from home or your partner's working. But what we've got coming up are some support networks and offers and services that can help you with these 7 steps. So the first one, don't be too hard on yourself. The second one, take some time out. The third one, get some restful sleep. Really important, restful sleep. Sleep can be very, very long, but it's not restful. Sleep can be very, very short, but not restful as well. So making sure that you look after your sleep. Exercise. This could be a walk around the block. It could be some desk exercise. It could be some stretches. 5 minutes. I do this 10-minute stretch thing, and they're all free on YouTube. It's brilliant. But so there are things out there. Being mindful. I loved the music earlier. I thought that was really great. I think it's a really good way to put some relaxing music on, focus your breathing, brings you back to the present. I always think of anxiety being worry about the future, and I think of depression as worrying about the past. And I think being mindful is like that perfect sweet spot in the middle where you're in the present. And I think it's a really cool way, things like breathing techniques, just taking 5 minutes out of silence and focusing on your breathing is really good. Being aware again of you smoking or drinking alcohol, because those things, they do have a physical effect, and stress is linked to that. And number 7, eating healthily. Try to make some steps towards that if you can. So yes, BBC Headroom, they've got brilliant resources here. They've got, like I was saying before, about mindfulness. If you're not sure about mindfulness or you're quite new to it, they've got a really good kind of beginner's toolkit. They've got really good tips. They've got mood mixes. That sounds interesting. I think that's like relaxing sounds and music, which that sounds really good. Personal stories, so people that are talking about how mindfulness has maybe helped them. Motivational stories as well. And yeah, the link is there. If you do want a copy of the slides, we can email that to you. If you email strengthening.families, I believe it's in the chat at the moment. Mind also have some amazing resources. You might have heard of Mind. It's a great charity that focuses on mental health and well-being. It's a national charity, and they've got a brilliant website with a wealth of information about not only well-being and mental health, but also mindfulness tips too. It covers things like understanding difficult feelings, taking care of your mental well-being, and looking after your practical needs, because I think that's a really important one for reducing stress. And it also offers further advice and support and links to different organisations too. So I won't read through all of these, but like I said, you can have these in the slides. And Mind, they've got loads there. They've got tips for everyday living, improving sleep. The NHS do some really good ones as well, and so does the Anna Freud Centre. So now I believe we're going to show a video. I'll just stop sharing my screen. I won't be a second.
While we're waiting to see the video, I'm just quite interested, after what we've been talking about, to find out, for those people in the room, what do you do to take time out for yourself? If you could put in the chat, that'd be fantastic. I'm having a conversation with Tanzira, and she's saying that talking about the shopping with your bestie is another good way to feel free from stress. So I'm quite interested to hear and read, what do you do? What do you do? If you could put in a chat, that'd be great. If you don't do anything, say that as well. Crochet or knitting. Oh, yes, you're right. Yes, crochet or knitting. Yeah, I did try that when I was younger. Didn't get very far, but I gave it a go. Go to the park and have a walk. Yep, lovely. Yeah, that's quite nice. I usually, when I go to the park, I think about what I'm going to cook for dinner. Yep, everything is around food for me, as you probably imagine now. Anything else? Anybody else have any ideas of what they do? Going around the block for 10 minutes. Yes, that's nice. And I find that really helps when you're a bit stuck or you can't find a solution to something. Just going around the block or having a walk, that helps to kind of refresh your mind. Chamomile tea. Yes, chamomile tea is very nice. Talking about sweet memories with your childhood buddies. Yes. Just thinking about the past and those funny stories, that would help. Taking time to be calm. Finding 5 minutes at some point in the day to stop your mind from thinking and taking deep breaths. Yep, lovely. Really nice. I'll tell you a funny story while we're waiting, but the other day I decided that I would try, Natalie, mindfulness.
Oh, yeah.
And I put on the YouTube video.
Oh.
And I was listening to it, and they said, close your eyes. So I did that. The next minute, I could hear myself snoring. So it really relaxed me. Oh, it did work, but I don't think that was the objective.
No.
Doesn't matter. I was relaxed. Whatever
Brilliant.
floats your boat, really, isn't it? Are you ready for the video, Natalie?
Yeah, I've got it now.
Okay, lovely.
Self-care is when an individual like you and me take responsibility for making daily choices about our lifestyle. And this may include from the very basic things such as brushing our teeth, eating healthily, and choosing exercise for our own well-being. It can also mean engaging in healthy behaviours that are good for our body and our soul, and reframing from unhealthy behaviors such as using drugs, drinking too much alcohol, gambling, or retail therapy. Believe it or not, these things only make us feel good for a very short term. Saying no when things become too much is equally important. For many of us, saying no is not easy, but if we don't take care of ourselves and if we don't say no, we end up taking too much on. This leads to stress, leaving us feeling overwhelmed, which can affect our physical health as well as our emotional and psychological well-being. Why is self-care important? Nurturing our body, our mind, and our spirit requires us to show ourselves some compassion and encourages us to be vulnerable with others, like, for example, asking for help when we need it. Embracing this concept can be difficult for so many of us, but if we don't, we run the risk of feeling depleted and empty. Investing is self-care. When you invest in yourself, you're looking after yourself. Remember, this is taking responsibility to care for yourself, spending time and effort on yourself. This rejuvenates and it energizes you. It's important that you take into account those things that are good for you, not just your body, not just your mind, but also the whole of you. Um, so take some time to indulge in your interests. What do you like doing? This demonstrates your worth. When you put aside time for things that you enjoy doing, it demonstrates your worth. It leads to improved self-esteem and a more positive outlook on the world. It teaches you a lot about yourself and provides you with insight into what you need in order to be the very best version of you.
Hi everyone. So we're going to move on to what support is available in Newham. So we've spoken quite a bit about, looking after yourself, and we've also looked at, what stress is. I think for me, one thing that stood out for me over the past year is that I've learned that certain things are not in my control. But I'm a person that likes to have control over things. And to be really, really honest, there has been days that I've really struggled with just not having things in my control. So the tips that, Natalie and Dawn have shared they're not, you know, they're very good, but it also takes practice, and it's really important to also be kind just to yourselves. When things are difficult, don't judge yourself, allow yourself to feel what you're feeling, and then looks at some strategies that you can try, which Dawn and Natalie shared. So what I'm going to do now is speak to you about some of the services that we have available in Newham at the moment to support you during this time as well. My colleague Yvette, I believe, is here. She could probably mention a bit about the Headstart coffee and chat sessions they've been running.
Hi everyone. Yeah, so basically due to the pandemic, we came together and realized that parents are very isolated at home, especially since it's been ongoing. So some of our peer parent facilitators who usually run parenting courses came together, and we've got monthly workshops for parents, and it's very current. So we're discussing the current challenges that we're facing, whether it's homeschool learning, making sure we're taking care of ourselves. It's a space where parents can share their experiences and just try to come up with strategies and tips to help ourselves each month going forward. So we've got some one-off workshops that we're doing once a month. We've got dates from now till June. And then so we've got a morning session for parents that are available in the mornings, and then we're repeating the same session in the evening for parents that find it easier to attend in the evening. So again, this is a course that's run by peer parents. So the facilitators themselves are parents, so they're going through the same things as well. And it's just a way to come together and just support each other. It's part of the peer parenting which Headstart are doing. And if you want more information with what Headstart are doing, the website is there, www.headstartnewham.co.uk, and you can see a lot of things about what Headstart are doing in general. But if you need any more information or want to ask a question about Headstart, you can email us with that email address as well. I'm going to put a video about self-care in the chat that you can click onto and watch now or maybe in your own time.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Yvette.
Right.
Next slide, please, Natalie. Right, so another service that's available to support you are our children's centres. So children's centres, we do a range of activities for families and children where there's a child who's either not born yet, or up to the age of 5 years. So the services that children's centres provide can be, looking into finding a nursery for your child, checking if your child can access, the free entitlement for a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old. And, we also provide, stay and play sessions, targeted group sessions. At the moment, our sessions are in Zoom. So if you've been able to join our session today, it would be lovely to join one of those. I know it's not the same as seeing people, face to face, seeing people around you, but it's a space where, you can meet other families, other children are around, and it's a lovely environment. We also do parenting support. I'm a parent. I know that sometimes parenting can be challenging. And when parenting is challenging, I get more stressed, which also affects, how I am. Then it causes stress and it affects how I think and how I feel. So if there's any areas, of parenting that you're currently struggling with, it could be routines. I know for a fact during the lockdown, my routine suddenly changed and it was really difficult to cope. And I come from working in children's centres, but I just got stuck and I had to reach out to others to just say, you know what, something's not working. Could you help me have a think about it? So children's centres are there to support you. Children's centres also offer volunteering and, chance for you to do some volunteering if you wish to look into, finding you, looking into employment and refer you to services that can go for advice around employment and training as well. And also, children's centres work very closely with our health visitors. We look at health and well-being support as well. So if you want to have a look at what services is available from the children's centres, there is a link below, and you can just click on that to just have a look at your local children's centres. If you want a copy of these slides, Natalie has already put in the chat as well, email strengthening families. Next slide, please. So children's centres are also offering some coffee and chat mornings as well. So I have put a list here. So in Forest Gate neighbourhood, we have Thursdays a session called Chit Chat. So I have put a link here of the activity calendar for Forest Gate, which when you click on it, you will actually be given some guidance about how you can join the sessions that they have. Similarly, with St. Stephen's Children's Centre, they do Tuesday coffee and conversations, 10 o'clock to 11. Plus, the Children's Centre do Monday's virtual coffee, 10 o'clock to 11. And then Beckton and Royal Docks Children's Centre do Friday afternoon tea with family support from 9 o'clock to 2:30. Next slide, please. Thank you. So an additional support from children's centres is, I know that we've shared this in some of our previous sessions as well, is children's centres have a team of family support workers who can support you overcome some of the difficulties you're experiencing. We know that, life is complex. We don't always just have one difficulty. Sometimes one difficulty affects something else and then everything just seems difficult. So family support workers are there to support you. things that they can support you is give you one-to-one parenting support. You know, you might be struggling with your child's sleep, and in turn that stresses you out, that makes you tired, and it affects how you are as a parent and as an individual. So other things are, you know, give you advice around employment and finance, access to food, to clothing, general advice, support around mental health, domestic abuse, and child development. If you have any questions about, you know, some of the support children's centres can provide, please email bsilfamilysupport@newham.gov.uk. Another service available in Newham, you know, to support you with your emotional well-being, is Community Links. Community Links, some of you may have already accessed it, you know, around housing, debt, benefits and things like that. But they are actually offering a mental health service, which is really, really great. So the service offers peer support groups and well-being activities to families in Newham, and they also offer one-to-one befriending with a trained volunteer. So if you feel like you want to have a chat with someone who will you know, regularly just give you a ring, have a chit chat, please call Rosalind Reynolds Gray, or you can give a call to that number and they can get you connected to a befriender. Sometimes it's easier to speak to someone who might not know you. So if you do feel that way, you know, just give us a shout. Right, another service in Newham is Newham Talking Therapies. So they offer a range of free and confidential therapy sessions, but they also offer specialist support to help you feel better. They deal with a lot, sometimes, you know, some of the difficulties we experience. It can be stress that, you know, becomes a bit more difficult to manage, or, you know, if you're struggling to just cope at the moment. So in addition to some of the one-to-one work that they do, they also offer some one-off webinars. So some of the things that we've seen is managing stress, managing irritability, understanding and improving sleep, managing low mood, managing worry. And another thing they have is introduction to mindfulness, which was one of the things that Donna tried. Um, Mindfulness is a lovely thing. It is something that helps you just shut off your mind, which is not the easiest thing. So if you're really interested in accessing that, you know, go onto the website newhamtalkingtherapies.nhs.uk, or give the number at the bottom of the page a ring. So another service, so we have our Newham family information service and the send local offer. So the website for this is there. So the link for this is there. If you want to if you have any specific, you know, queries about what services are available, you can see here that we have, you know, sections such as help and support to families, things you can do, early years, education, health and support for young people. So if you want to find out more about, you know, the council's services and, you know, what we provide, you know, please visit the link. And we all know that it is half term, so please go to the Newham website to download our half-term brochure with some activities for children and young people. In addition to that, you know, South Bank is doing something called the South Bank Centre Family Fun. So they're doing some virtual sessions for children and young people as well. We also have East London Dance doing online classes for children who are 9 to 19 years old. And we have our active Newham online activity program. So there's a link for that as well on this page. Again, please remember, if you want a copy of these slides so you can access those links, just send us an email and we'll send that across to you. Thanks, Ghazala. I believe now we've got another video just to show, so I'll just load that up. Is it a bit slow at all? Oh, there it is. Great.
My name is Sandra and I'm the chair of the Ask User-led Mental Health Group in Newham. I'm also the co-chair of the Co-Production Forum for Adult Social Care. I'm incredibly passionate about mental health and well-being and ensuring there is better understanding within the borough. I struggle myself daily with a mental health illness, which is what led me to work within ASK. ASK is a user-led mental health group that offers organisations and the local authority the opportunity to come in and listen and learn, and ultimately adopt the services they offer to those that suffer with a mental health illness. If we could talk about mental health like we talk about what we're having for breakfast, we would no longer have any stigma or discrimination around it. Mental health and well-being is very, very important from a very young age as a child. If we nurture our children from a young age, it can help prevent mental health issues. There is huge stigma that exists around mental health issues, and this is something that has to change. If we can make Newham a mental health friendly borough, we can really change some lives. The 50 steps is another way for me to spread my message. Let's all be more open and honest about mental health.
Hey everybody. So now we're going to talk a little bit about the mental health support that's available in Newham. So as we mentioned earlier, we've got brilliant resources, online resources, some self-care techniques and tricks and tips. However, if you are feeling overwhelmed, and like I mentioned earlier, if you're having symptoms that have been prolonged, or you've had them come on suddenly, or it's affecting your day-to-day life, please do seek advice from your GP or medical professional. I've also got a link here for the information about community mental health support services in Newham. So that includes adults' mental health and also children's mental health as well, CAMS. In times of crisis, there is a brilliant service which is called Hestia. Now, Hestia supports at the first point of crisis with in relation to mental health and complex needs, domestic abuse, modern slavery response, drug and alcohol support, and also supporting with young people and young people's mental health. So if you click the links, it will take you to Hestia. They've got the referral form, I think, on their website, and contact information. If you are struggling at the moment relating to any of those things and more, and if your cup's quite full, and if you're needing some extra support. As well as that, we've also listed here some helplines. So these are a mixture of different kinds of helplines that can help you at your point of crisis if you're feeling overwhelmed. I've rang a couple of these before, Samaritans I've rang before, just to have a chat. I was feeling really low. I rang Samaritans, got a lovely woman on the phone, and she just listened. She just listened without any judgment. It's completely anonymous. And it's just nice to sometimes, I think as Ala mentioned before, to talk to somebody who you don't necessarily know. Whilst it's good to reach out to friends and family that you do know, I also think it's also good to have the option there to ring one of these helplines if you're feeling it. There's also some stress and anxiety numbers here. Anxiety UK, brilliant organisation. National Gambling Helpline, and Relate as well if you're worried about relationships. And there's also here, it's a really cool service called Shout, and all you've got to do is, if you're struggling to cope, you can text Shout to 85258, and they give you, it's free, it's anytime, and they've got trained volunteers on the spot, can give you some, listening space. They can guide you to a calm and safe place if you're feeling overwhelmed. and all of the information are on these slides. And I'm just going to show you a quick video of what Shout do.
Is a free, confidential 24/7 text messaging service for anyone in the UK. It's a place to go if you're struggling to cope. To start a conversation, text the word SHOUT to 85258. Then you'll receive 4 automated messages before you're connected to someone who will listen without judgment. This will usually be within 5 minutes, but if we're busy, it might take longer. Your SHOUT volunteer will introduce themselves and ask you to share a bit more about what's on your mind. This might include feeling anxious, relationship problems, bullying, addiction, self-harm, depression or suicide, and can be about anything that's troubling you. Our conversations tend to last around 45 to 60 minutes and work best when you text back and forth. The goal of the conversation is to help you reach a calm and safe place with a plan of how to support yourself going forwards.
Hey everybody, so the next upcoming parent workshops, just to note the previous ones, so that's supporting parents during the coronavirus pandemic, supporting teenagers, supporting children, and this one will all be available on YouTube on the link there. This one will be uploaded probably next week, but the previous 3 sessions are already on there, so you can go and watch those if you want. The next session that we have is on Thursday, the 25th of February, and it's same time, same link, and it's specifically aimed for supporting children and young people with additional needs. I really do encourage everybody who that's appropriate for to attend. Definitely, if you know somebody or if you have a friend and they're a SEND family, please do encourage them to attend, because we're going to have a wealth of information from SEND specific perspectives, but also from professionals in the fields that can really give some good information about where to go to get help and support. So the big question, would you like a copy of the slides? If so, please do send an email to strengthening.families@newham.gov.uk. We also have a parents WhatsApp group, which is a space where it's a safe space where parents can find out about offers like what we've mentioned today, but also other focus groups, coffee and chat mornings and things like that. And it's a really good place for parents to connect, and also for us to give you some information about what's going on at Newham. So if you would like to be part of that WhatsApp group, please do email strengthening.families@newham.gov.uk and just mention in the email that you'd like to be added, along with your phone number, so that I can add the number to the chat. And we're really looking forward to seeing you there. So the last thing before we leave, there will be a workshop feedback form that will just pop up at the end of this Zoom, and it's about, I think it's about 4 or 5 questions, and they're mostly tick box questions. If you could take just a couple of minutes and just answer those, that would be amazing. We really do want to try and improve where we can, build on our strengths of what we're doing at the moment with these webinars, and we'd really like your feedback, because you're the experts, and we need you know what is needed, what you want, and what we can provide in terms of the support that we've got at Newham, and to target that to more specific sessions maybe in the future. I'd just like to take this moment to thank everybody who's come today, and thanks Ghazala,
Thank you,
and
everyone.
Dawn as well. And yeah,
And Yvette as well.
And Yvette, yeah, thanks Yvette. And yeah, we really want to see you at the next one. So thanks for coming, and do take a moment for yourself after this session to regroup.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.